Hey guys, welcome to a special Q&A episode that was kind of not random. Me and Wayne planned it for a while. I just didn't get to tweet it out as much as I wanted to, but I did. I tweeted it out a couple of times. So we are here to talk about the Like Father Like Daughter webcomic. I mean, we could talk about the regular comic too if you want to, but this is Like Father Like Daughter Q&A. So it should be about a half an hour, 45 minutes. So if you guys have any questions for us about, again, the webcomic or the regular comic, please access. Let me actually send our Webtoons link in the chat. So if you guys haven't read it, you guys can, which the Webtoons is doing pretty awesome. Me and Wayne have been showing each other the stats throughout the week. So it's pretty cool.
Been exciting.
Yeah, we've been working every day, very hard on this. So we're going to pass it on to Jay, though. So we're going to start chalking. Jay is going to be moderating this thing.
Who, me? Never.
No, what? Why is Jay here?
Yeah, I'm just here to hang out.
Oh, well, you got to work.
So, Kat, why don't you tell anyone who is not familiar, so like that one person online who's not familiar with Like Father Like Daughter, tell them what that sales pitch is again, that elevator pitch.
Yes, the elevator pitch that we all go with. So the book's about a high school girl. Father left her, become a full-time superhero. Everyone in the world loves him except for her because he is the only superhero in the world. And then she inherits his abilities. So you got to find out what she ends up doing with these powers, the very powers that made her father leave. So, and that is pretty much the elevator pitch. And we have a lot of twists and turns coming. Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, and now we have a webcomic out that you can find on. Tell everyone where you can find the webcomics at.
Okay, so the webcomic is released every Wednesday and Saturday, sometimes Friday, when I'm busy on Saturday, and for some reason that's been a lot lately. And probably New York Comic Con, when that week happens, I was already planning in my head. I'll probably do Wednesday and Monday that week, so I'll let you guys know. But you're getting it earlier, not getting it later, so that's good. But yeah, usually it's Wednesdays and Saturdays, and we release it on the Short Fuse Media Facebook page. I share it on Comic Uno and Like Father Like Daughter too, if you want to check it out there. But also, I think what we're really trying to reach big is the Webtoons. So we have about, I don't know, like 140-something subscribers now, which is really awesome. So we really want to build that up. Yeah, and it's only been like a week or two. Yeah, we have 141 and 2,002 or 2,200 viewers. So we would love if you guys could rate it, and please let us know your comments. That's something we really like. I mean, we're putting all our effort and time into it, and we really just want to hear everyone's thoughts on it. So that's a big thing, and that's why we're doing this Q&A too, to kind of like see what you guys want with the webcomic. Me and Wayne have definitely a good amount of ideas. Maybe Jay could tease out from us, but yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess, for the webcomic.
Yeah, I know some of stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
There's like a slight echo somewhere.
Oh, it's probably me. I'll be back.
So, yeah, Kat said that there's, the two ways that you can find the comic, which is either on Facebook through hers or Like Father Like Daughters, which is on the Short Fuse one. And you can also find it on the Webtoons one. And I want to congratulate you guys because I remember just like 2 days ago, Kat was like, we're at 99 subscribers. And then now it's 140. I'm like, I was expecting her to say like 104 when she said 104. Like, I just thought she was gonna say 4, and then she said 40. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. That's a big jump in just like a 2 or 3 days. So she said we have 99. I'm very proud of you guys for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to promote it a lot, but I guess it's the Webtoons viewers that are really helping us out. Which thank you, and you guys too, whoever has been reading, we really appreciate it.
I've been reading it on there, and
of course, Jay.
I love it. So why don't you tell everyone, you guys, what the how this webcomic came about? Because this is separate from the regular comic book. So tell us how this webcomic came about.
I think I gotta pass this on to Wayne because really, I mean, it was both our ideas, but Wayne's really the one who got it going. Came up with a a cool idea for the comic, and I'm like, well, we can't fit this in the official comic, and obviously we have a lot of time between Kickstarters and all that. So, I mean, I was thinking about webcomics previously, because like, oh, we could actually promote our book as, as we wait. So that was a big thing. Me and Jay have been talking about that for a really long time. But really, these ideas came
comic duo. It was a comic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Cool. It was. This all started, I think it was like maybe back in April, and for like the past 2 years, I know me and Kat were like, you know what, we should really do a Halloween story. We should do a Halloween story, but we never really found an idea that really kind of worked with the comic book because it would kind of interrupt the timeline. And when you're telling a story, that's very important. So I think what happened was the idea I had, I turned into a story. Kat loved it. She added to it. We went back and forth. And then we were like, okay, we wrote a great story. I got a lot of cool sketches I could turn into a great book. But what are we going to do with it? So we really had no answer for that because we were thinking a special edition, but with the way things have been in hiatus, we weren't 100% sure when and if that would come about. And quite frankly, I'm just tired of not drawing this damn book.
Hey, that's saying something.
It is. So I was just thinking, man, what could we do? We got a really great story, but we have no outlet to do it. And it just kind of clicked on me, like, the internet's an awesome outlet. Everybody's putting comics on the internet now. Why don't we do like a web comic thing with it? And Kat was like, that's actually a cool idea. I wonder how we could do it. And we were kind of brainstorming back and forth until we figured out a way we could make something like that happen.
Yeah.
So
I have to take the higher ups too, because at the same time, Stealth was going on. They're like, oh, put it on the Facebook page. And then, honestly, when the week came out, I just discovered Webtoons. Like, let's do that. And Jay gave me the idea of Webtoons, actually. Jay's like, oh, yeah, I was thinking of doing Webtoons. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. So then I stole his idea. No, I didn't.
Yeah. So we kind of tag teamed together, me and Jay, on that one. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for the tag on that, bro. So anyway, we started thinking, okay, what can we do? We can put something cool together to do a webcomic and get people's attention. Maybe get the book back up on a monthly basis and get running. So I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. And then one thing came to another, and before we even had the Halloween story even ready to go for a webcomic, we had like 2, 3, 4 different ideas that would be great for a webcomic because they're outside of Kat's story arc. So we could do those little in-between stories you don't hear about, and it doesn't interrupt her story arc in the series. So I was like, that's great. We got like the same thing going on both ends, going in different directions. It's awesome. And then it's just kind of went from there. We just kept rolling along with going back and forth with ideas and sketches and character plot lines. And we got a couple great stories worked up already. And you guys haven't even seen those yet.
Yeah.
And the Halloween one is awesome. I think me and Kat put together a great story. Thanks, Kat. I had an idea, but Kat's the one who really kind of gave it substance and form.
Yeah, I think we both are a very big fan of horror. I love slasher films, so this is really going to be a lot of fun. And it's a superhero twist, and I will say the sleepover storyline needed to happen, though, to get to this point. Because our original idea was just let this Halloween story happen. And it was like, oh, we got to make it lead up to something. So the sleepover story that's going on right now is going to lead into our Halloween story. And right in time for Halloween, I think we're actually timing it right, which is awesome. At least it'll start around Halloween time. So I'm really excited about that. So the sleepover story is important. But, I feel like all these other stories kind of have different substances that I've had for honestly probably years at this point, or a year, especially Stephanie's character I've been working on a lot, and I can't do in the comic yet because obviously it's a bit more about Casey's story right now. So it's like, you're waiting. So at least with the webcomic, you can have some of that in story, which you're getting to see in the sleepover story, even the get to know, you kind of see their background that I've been thinking about a lot. I know for future storylines that's going to work out, but for now I can't really do anything with.
Well, I think it's great for Kat too because like she was saying about Steph, she's got a whole new outlet she can explore these characters with, and that's fantastic. I can't wait to see what she's coming up with. I've already seen what we've come up with. idea-wise and what she's done with character from what I came up with, you know, like I come up with like silly little plots. She like turns it into a sophisticated story. But it's awesome what she's coming up with. I'm loving
That's
it.
Great synergy, though. That's great synergy. When you can bounce off of each other like that, and one person does, you know, throws out an idea, and the other one can take it and shape it for you, and then the other one throws it back. They throw it back at you, and then you bring it to life. That's great synergy there. That's a great creative team. That's what I like about you two as a creative team, is that you feed off of each other. Like, you know, you're not just someone who's like, oh yeah, this is my project and you're doing the art for it.
No, we're a tag team.
This is like, this is our project. We both care and are invested in this piece of work. So that I think is just awesome. And I'm telling you,
with the webcomic, you're really getting to see that, because technically, honestly, we're both writing it. We really both write the story. Like, it's not just like in the comic. Obviously, it's just my dialogue writing it, and it's just Wayne's artwork. But like when we get to do the webcomic, I get to throw more ideas to Wayne for the artwork, and be like, I want to receive this specific thing in the art, and then Wayne's allowed to say, hey, I want to see this in the dialogue. So we were literally writing and doing this together.
But that's what it takes, you know. That's what they do. That's what a writer and artist is supposed to do on a comic book.
It's like, going.
I like it. I like it because I can just come up with a great looking panel, and I just throw it over her. She's like, I can work with that. I can work with that. So
it's like going old school. It's like going old school. When you think about like great creative teams like Wolfman and Perez, you know, the new Teen Titans. They had that relationship where they worked like you two did, you know. They bounce off of each other, and I think that's what makes a great comic book. You can see when there's a disconnect between the creators in the book, and you can see when they're fused together, and that's what you guys have become. And I just want to say, I want to ask a question about this. Now, I know that like you have a lot of the main comic book plot out, Cat.
Oh, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. And it's like,
and it's great. It's great. It's great to see what she's doing with it on this. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So, do you think, like, at a certain point in the main book, we'll see more of the influences of this style of creative collaboration where Wayne's like, hey, how about we do this type of an issue? Or do you think it would take a little bit till you get on a better like schedule with the Kickstarters
What I'd like to say in that regard is when you're a creative team on a comic book and one's an artist, one's a writer, they're pretty much both writers and artists. And it's just that she's painting her pictures with the words and I'm turning words into images. It's the same thing. So we're like really co-writing this thing just in different aspects. I'm doing the drawing and everything. But if you have that energy in that sync, it's easier. It works great because you guys are on track with that.
Yeah, and going into like specific like plot lines, I feel like it's kind of already happened with some things. Like even Wayne was talking the other day about something with Wes's storyline that's gonna be put into one of our webcomics, which is gonna be really awesome. I won't spoil it, but it's really cool.
I'm telling you, as a fanboy, wait till you see what happens to Wes.
Oh,
I don't care about the spoiling because after this, you guys are going to spoil that for me.
Oh, totally.
I'm so invested in Wes because Wes has become me in the freaking comic.
I'm telling you, it's not on purpose. But I
know, but it's like everything you're saying, I'm like, she's in my freaking head because that's stuff that I would have been saying. I'm like, you know, they're in my head. And like Wayne already made Wes's room pretty much like my room when I was a kid. So it's like, you guys don't even know this stuff and you are doing it. It was like, am I that stereotypical of a fanboy?
I think you're just a lot like Wes. But yeah, Wes, that's what I love about these three characters. They really are really deep. I mean, they have a lot of story to tell. Like, I love even with the get to know. I don't know if other people noticed it, but like get to know, you get to learn that Casey likes cooking. Like, who knew that was something? But it makes sense. No one was home. Like, she would cook for herself. So I like those little things.
Oh, come on. What about Wes never watching Game of Thrones?
Oh, that was the biggest one.
That was a shocker. Come on.
But then
again, I never watched Game of Thrones.
They will have to put a supernatural thing in there too. Never.
When he said that, I was like, me too.
That's what I love about the relationship between Casey and Wes, and I think you're starting to see that develop.
Oh yeah.
So imagine Superman and a Superman comic book fan being friends, right? It's imagine that. It's so of a challenge character-wise, and I'm loving that relationship between the hero and the fan or the follower of the hero.
So am I. Like,
and they're both learning from each other, which is really cool.
Exactly, but they're like normal people, though. They're not like crazy cartoony characters, if you will. They take it like if it was you or me. Like, oh, Jay, imagine if Superman sitting right there next to you, you guys are hanging out with a beer watching the game.
I would honestly be like Wes.
Yeah,
I think that would be the one time I would be. Pat would tell you I'm not a starstruck person. Like,
he does not.
I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You're another person. Whatever. I don't care. But if I actually saw, like, I think the only person I probably would have been, like, really starstruck with would be Christopher Reeve back in the 70s when he was. Yeah. I think that would have been, like, my big geek out moment. But, like, I could see people, like, but seriously, if Superman was real and he was standing there, I'd probably be like Wes, be like, just wanted to ask him all these stupid, dumb questions that nobody else would even friggin' think about asking. Like the temperature inside the Fortress of Solitude. Like, nobody else would ask that.
We're definitely getting to see Wes ask those type of questions. And you know what I think is cool, me and Wayne always joke around about this too. I mean, Wes is learning to be friends with 2 girls, and you get to see that a little bit more too.
Which, again,
I think there's some parts of this where Wes just regrets his decision to become their friend.
He's like,
I grew up in a family where I had a lot of girls around me, so I have a lot of females who are my friends. So, like, I could totally understand Wes's point of view when you're into that relationship and you're like, okay, I don't need to be treated like I'm one of you because I'm not a girl. Do not talk about that stuff.
And Steph don't try to do that to Wes either, you know?
No, it's just a natural thing that girls do when they're around. Like, they share too much information with their guy friends. Right. I'm like, I don't need to know that schedule. Like, I don't need to know that about you. Don't tell me that, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you never know. There might be something popping up. No, there isn't.
Yeah.
But I'm sure those conversations have happened with Wes already.
I mean, like, you can totally tell that. Like, that's where, like, you know, I can totally relate to Wes.
And Wes doesn't have any siblings, so he's going to have to start getting used to it.
Well, that's the difference between Wes and I. When you said I want to thank my note to self, thank my mom for not having any more kids. I was like, dude, why couldn't I have no brothers? Like, I have a brother, and like he annoyed me growing up. So, but
I think Stephanie's kind of the bully of the sibling relationship. It looks like I think Stephanie's kind of in control of her little brother there. I thought that was hysterical, though. She's definitely in charge. But
she's an older sibling. That's what they are.
He's like,
see, Kat, you don't understand that, Kat. You and your brother are twins, so you have that like equality. Like, there's equality there. When you're an older or younger sibling, there's definitely a disconnect. There's like one person has the power, and it always shifts. You know,
I mean, Wes is sleeping in Riley's room, so Steph's got the power there. I think it was Wayne's line that where he says, "Oh, you're such a weird. Well, I don't want like to be in the same room as your weirdo friend." I was like, "That's perfect. I love that." So I love those moments. But it's also interesting with Stephanie is that she's the only one who does have siblings. So I hope in future arcs. Right now we don't have her older brother, but I do have thoughts about that too, and it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, it's cool to actually see a character with siblings, especially with Casey's relationship, who doesn't have siblings but is really close to Stephanie. So you're going to see like her relationship with Stephanie's family, which is kind of cool, because I think every best friend, you have a relationship with your best friend's family. It's like your second family, and that's definitely something for Casey.
Oh yeah, so we're in the second arc, and we already started talking about that. But tell us about what the first arc of the webcomic was about, Kat. Kat or either one.
Well, the Get to Know. All right, this is actually really interesting because the Get to Know originally was just going to be like Prince. Like, I was just picturing it as like, I remember there was a Spider-Girl thing a long time ago where they had her friends, and they would just say, "Oh, this is what they're interested in." And it was like her next to her friend. It wasn't as detailed, but it was just like a little thing. And I'm like, I really want to do that for like Twilight Daughter. And then Wayne came up with the idea of like, let's actually make this a comic strip, you know, and that's how we came up with more ideas. Mm-hmm. And Wayne is the one who came up with the being in like kind of this TV audience type thing or like a movie thing, and seeing them
felt like a
interact.
Modern Family type thing too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know how at the beginning of every Modern Family episode or throughout the episode, like they're just sitting there in the room and they're answering these questions. You don't know who's behind the camera talking to them, but you know that they're being prompted for this. So I liked it because that's what I thought of when I watched it. I was like, this is Modern Family. Like, this is like something like a Modern Family type thing. I liked it.
Yeah, and they get to react to each other. I mean, Wayne added a lot of the jokes in that one. Again, it was like, mine was just really straight up. This is what they're doing. But Wayne added some of the humor, and then we played with it. And I think it ended up becoming really funny, which I'm glad.
One of my favorite pieces of Wes is in there. Is when he's talking about a hero and Superman's behind him. I'm like, Wayne, I love you. I worship you. Yeah. I just love you, Wayne. Right now, I was like, I love you when he was saying that. I was like, yes. And then I was like, Kat, I love you for the words because I love that. I mean, it was just
you gotta add some Superman stuff, and I think both Wes and I would say Jim are like that. You know, they both are very like patriotic type. You know, superhero that they like. So,
I think that Wes and Invulnerable Jim are pretty much kind of like a before and after shot of the same character, but they're two different people.
I think so too.
I think they both have this sense of right and wrong that we get from comic books.
Totally, yeah.
And I think that's the relationship they have to build on.
I just want to throw this out there real fast. Vulnerable as a teenager.
Oh God, yeah, that was
Invincible.
No, Invulnerable.
No, Invulnerable. Yeah. Sorry, because you know what? I'm actually no. This is totally my fault because I'm looking at the advice print with the Invincible
on there. Yeah.
And I was looking at it while I was talking, so I'm like, no, I said the wrong name. And then I was like, no, I said the right name.
It's like I finally
because I'm looking at the Invincible advice print that I love because I love those print ups. The pinups are up on my wall. So I was looking at it. I'm like, Invulnerable.
Yeah. So, I would like to see that. Me and Wayne, and really Wayne's the one that came up with this one too. We do have an idea for more Jim and one of his friends that we saw in the comic already. So we do have more thoughts on that. And yeah, I like teen, and we're also going to see younger versions of some of our characters. We just came up with this one, but we're going to see honestly, a really important time in one of these in two of the characters' lives and how that played out. And then this is the West moment that Wayne came up with that I thought was brilliant. And so we get to see a West moment there too. So we won't spoil too much because we haven't really created it yet, but it is an idea.
Any advice from my life, just ask me because, you know, that's his life.
Pretty much is. Totally. I mean, I have to get some more research on
I mean, I'm saying,
Kat more graphic novels.
Kat has written stuff that honestly I've never told her about, but it comes out in West, and I'm like, that's me. Like, I done that. Like, so it's
hey, weird. That's the point of West, though, is that, you know, the comic book fan relating to West. And I feel like there's not enough comics. Like, I don't really know any comics that really do that, actually, where it's just like this one character is just geeking out all the time. And it's funny also because I feel like all these characters could be related to a certain superhero. Like you said, like Invulnerable and West are like Superman. And we see that Casey's very much like Spider-Man in a lot of ways, at least their attitudes. We might be playing on that wink, wink very soon.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Something on the art, Wayne. For this first arc, you got like the paneling. I noticed. Is there a plan to like make this into a whole comic? Because like you got it like as a web comic would, like with the blank spaces in there. Is it a point where you're doing that so eventually this could be released as a comic or a mini book or something?
Well, when it comes to the web comic, the web comic is literally done like a regular comic book page, just like I would do for this regular series. But for the web, getting the special nuances of the panel and the detail and whatever the story is in that caption can get lost if the page is not regular standard. So what I decided was, okay, we'll cut these up and we'll show one panel at a time. But the trick for that is some panels are really large and some are very small. But if you do it that way on the web, you're always going to get the same size regardless of which, so it's going to look very awkward. So when it comes to the webcomic, breaking it down, I don't know about I don't know about how to describe it better. It's just I wanted the good artwork we were doing and the good story we were telling to come through easily. So
it does work great with it.
So there's not really a lot of blank. It looks like blank spaces just to keep the panel at a reasonable size where it kind of matches the other panels you're looking at.
Yeah, we decided to do it like more of view of like how you would read a comic on, like Comixology. So we decided that was Wayne's idea to do that too, which I like, because we actually have the pages. Every single time Wayne sends it to me, he actually has the official comic page, and then we break it up.
I was saying it looks like it was a piece of a whole page. That's why I said, like, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can see this being actual. Like this panel goes there, that and it's going to be like one big page. I can honestly see that. That's why I was asking about that.
It's easier to read that way over the internet, but it's also harder because you can't really see how that one panel, which looks the same size of all the other panels, is actually like a third of the size. But when it bounces together, it's got a different kind of layout and feel to it as a whole page. So that's the challenge of it, trying to keep that moment. And we just lose it completely. But at least you're able to follow along the story a lot easier, especially on the internet that way.
And seeing the art detail, because even when I get the individual page, I don't recognize the detail of like Steph's room as much as when I read it as the individual. Like I'm like, oh cool, there's the record player, there's you literally get to see all the details. So
because it makes you zone in that.
No,
I think when you're reading a regular comic book, you kind of glance over the main, like the background art, and it's just really like the foreground that you see more in a regular book. But this type of style makes you actually concentrate more on each panel, and you get more detail with that. So I like it.
Yeah, and I think growing up, one of my biggest influence in comic was Calvin and Hobbes, and what blew me away with that comic strip was just the way he would change the layout almost every day on the daily strip, and sometimes it would be no layout at all, just the art image was inside a whole white space, and it just blew my mind him doing that. So I love doing that kind of thing, and the webcomic kind of gives me some room to kind of get more cartoonish with it. I don't have to be strict Marvel style, DC style, kind of Jim Lee style. I can just have more fun with it and play around with how things look a little bit. So I think the web looks a little cartoonier, but I think it's better for it.
Oh yeah, I think I like it. I mean, I honestly do like it. But we have a question from one of our viewers, and it says from CO397. It says, how long does it usually take to draw one of the online comics?
Yeah, this is definitely on Wayne's side, but I guess also because again, we break the story down in parts. So I guess the question of how long does it do one story, and then also how long does it take to do one day of the comic. So I guess that's more for Wayne. So how long
I think Wayne's having on audio.
Oh, is.
You guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry.
I don't know what was going on before, a day or so. So, so a day or so for the one day, right? It's for the one day of what we're releasing. And
each page is takes me about a day to finish, sometimes two, because my days are broken up with my real job and my kids and my family. So money being tight, I have to work as where I can to get money. And we're not really making anything off this. This is a free thing to get people to like the story. So
which is another reason to go check it out. We're giving our free labor for this one, just because we love the characters and we want you guys to check it out.
But the weekends, I got more time. So yeah, usually about a day I can get maybe one done. Maybe I can get two if a really good day. Nobody's pounding on my door. So I could really get it done quickly. Doing this, especially I think that's one of the things that's really affecting my style in this web comic. Why it looks a bit more cartoony. It's quicker for me to do it that way than to just try to like slow and pen and think it takes too much time. Though you miss some of the detail's still there, it's just in a different style.
Yeah, and it works for this comic. It's supposed to be like, I think The webcomic is definitely not as dark as the actual comic. It's weird to say it is a darker comic. I mean, I usually promote it as something that's not, but there's definitely darker elements, and this is not as dark.
Yeah, this arc, I think it's needed though, because it's telling an emotional story, so it has to be a little darker. Another question we have is, would you guys consider doing a printed mini collection of the online comics? This is from CO also.
To make a printed collection?
Yeah. Like, will this ever see print, or will it just remain online?
I believe in Sean that he'll definitely make the right choices on that one. On Kickstarters, if he feels like there's a use for the webcomic there, I'm sure it'll be done. And if people are asking for it enough, which we actually have gotten a couple of people ask already for a printed collection, then we'll do it. But I think right now we're just focusing on like getting the actual comic printed, and then once we build a big fan base and more want for it, then we can actually do it, because Sean definitely does not say no on those areas. If people want it, we're gonna give it for you, but we definitely need enough people to want it before we could because everything costs money, especially print.
Yeah. I want to tell you right now.
I just want to throw in on that because I like the idea. How about we do like an annual? And I would love to do that. Well, I don't know how, but we got to work on it for I don't think of this year, but next year. That would be awesome.
I think Short Fuse's Heroes Ignited, a while back where we did that comic thing, where they went to JHU. I think they're planning on making that like maybe an annual thing. So that'd be cool if they do that. So maybe we'll have opportunities there. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to get an annual. At this point, it's like our comic is an annual.
And the best part is all the artwork's done, all the stories done. You just print them all, put them all together into one annual. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about something because Kat said about people requesting things to be printed out. I want the Stephanie print of her in her room rocking out on that wall. That is just like one of the most beautiful pieces I've seen from like Fatherlike Daughter or any comic really in a long time. So Wayne, that was just awesome. I love that scene. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I texted Kat right away. I was like, that has to be a freaking a print. You got to do that. Like
I really want. Literally, when I was thinking about this webcomic, I already told Wayne, I'm like, I want a Stephanie print. And it better be about her music.
that print, I was just like, that image, I was just like, that's a print. Like, that is a print that I can see hanging up on my wall. Like, I want to hang it up on my wall. That's how, like, I don't know where I'm going to put it because I got like a lot of things up here, but I'm going to make room for my wall to put that on there. And, I just saw that and I was like, that is beautiful.
Me
I
too.
love it.
I love it too.
It captures her personality perfect, because like I do know a little bit more about what's coming out with her, so it captures her whole personality perfectly. So
and that's one thing I'll say about the webcomic. If you read the webcomic, you are going to get teases of future storylines.
Yeah.
Like, you are getting teases already. Me and Wayne already got a lot of winks coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for Stephanie, because Stephanie is going to be the character for the next arc that we're really focusing on. So that's why I'm like, if you want to get like kind of teases of what's going on, read the webcomic. I mean, none of her music stuff have hit the comic book officially, but that's going to be a part of her character a lot. Even next issue, we're going to get a little bit of it. But I mean, just because we're telling Casey's story, you just don't have a lot of time to do that. But with the webcomic, you get to tell those stories that, for me, I've had them for a long time, but I haven't, everything takes time. So yeah, read the webcomic if you want teases for what's to come. You get them a lot. We really, we don't hold back.
Especially character beats. That's going to, like, you're going to get some more in depth why these characters doing what they're doing in the regular comic, because you're going to see it develop in these online comics.
And I think you get to see that with the Get to Know. Again, you get to see real. I felt you got to see attributes of the characters you never seen from the regular comic for all four of them. I felt that way. So.
So Rabbit Ears blog says, who were your inspirations for creating this webcomic?
I don't know. I don't have. I think we just kind of wanted to do it.
I think Wayne just said like a big one was Calvin Hobbs.
I think honestly, Stealth was my inspiration from Short Fuse because they were doing it, and I was like, yeah. I mean, maybe we have a chance to do it now. So I guess I would say Stealth.
All right. So before we go into the second arc, I just want to answer a couple other questions from the viewers.
Yeah.
Tevia says, as for like father-like-daughter questions, I have one. Is Cassie's mother ever going to find out about Cassie's origins and where her father came from?
I will say if you read the first issue, Casey's mom, I mean, Casey tried telling her mom about it. Like, she was pretty straightforward. One thing I love about Casey, and you're really going to see this, she doesn't like keeping secrets. She's a really truthful person. She tells it how it is all the time, and maybe that's sometimes why people think she's, you know, maybe a little bit of a have a bitch face, we'll say, you know, lying bitch face sometimes, but you know, that's just her personality, that she tells it how she is, and that's what she does. So that's what I love about the character. So anyway, she tells her mom straight up, like, you know, what do I do with this situation? I mean, she can't say it fully because she didn't even understand it at that point. But we will see more of Casey's mom next issue. I'll say that. I mean, we haven't seen her, but we will see more of her next issue.
All right, and another one we have from Real Manos. He says, "Can you give us a hint about the future villains yet to come?"
Oh, you know what? We just had this discussion, Kat, like last weekend, about villains. I have ideas for villains. I want to throw as many crazy villains like out of a Spider-Man comic book, Casey. I so do, but.
Yeah, we have some plans for some webcomic villains.
I know.
We can't tell you about the villains of the actual comic because that's a really big storyline. So I can't say anything about that. But we're going to, I mean, you saw in the last issue, we're learning a little bit about them from issue 4. We learn a lot about them in issue 5. So if you're looking more about the villains, pick up issue 5 because you really learn everything about them by next issue. So,
I just read a draft from the next issue. Kat asked me to read it, and
I did.
It's great stuff coming up there. I almost said
you on a killer cliffhanger. Like, it's a pretty big one.
You're gonna find out a lot more about what's going on that we don't know yet.
I would say you find out all of it. Honestly, at that point, you find it out all pretty much by the next issue.
This is like the big. This would be like if you're watching a movie. This is that point in the movie where you find out what's really going on before the climax. It's like that moment right before the climax where everyone gets together and does the big thing at the end of the movie. Because I don't want to say anything, trying not to spoil, so I'm being very vague. But this is that point, like right before there, where they find out what they need to do and how they need to do it. This is like that point in the comic.
Or at least I'll say we find out. Casey finds out. I will say Casey finds out some stuff. And they find out some stuff, but we find out, and I obviously know, but the audience finds out everything by the end of the issue. So pick up issue 5 when we do get that. We are gonna be setting up for that soon, and that's what the webcomic's there for too, to get you guys excited for what's to come with that. And hopefully we'll do some tie-ins with issue 5 and some form with the webcomic. We definitely have talked about that once the Kickstarter gets going. But yeah, so we got a lot of plans.
Will you do a time travel story with Casey, says Tevia, and her father?
I want to say kind of a little bit, but I don't think in the way you're understanding. I know that part, but I can see that kind of being a answer.
Oh yeah, no, I think all right, this is hard. In my mind, I know, oh man, I really know where they're gonna go
I know you know. We've talked about this.
Oh yeah, we've talked about it.
But it's like I can see a time travel story, but not a time travel story.
Yeah,
I don't know how. I don't want to give anything away that I know.
Yeah, we'll make it unconventional, just like we do everything else with like Father Like Daughter. And I'll say, in the actual comic, I really want to do a one shot where we don't see them in the present. That's all I'm gonna say. And it has nothing to time travel. But I actually wrote it, so I'm just making sure I can do it. It's all written down. So and it's also Stephanie driven, Stephanie and Casey driven. But and Wes has some fun stuff in there too. But I
do want to say that was a good question. That was a question right out of left field for me.
We have Sean, from Short Fuse here, and he has hashtag vodka.
Vodka cures all.
And then we have Scotty Showman in the chat saying, "Hey guys, cool to see that like Firelights Daughter is still going strong. Thank you for that support."
Thank you. Showman. Yes.
And let me see. There was another question I saw. Debbie says, "Would you do an origin story of with Invulnerable?"
I mean, I think that's the story right now is both, them discovering their origins. I've always said that.
Yeah, this issue 5, you discover some of his origin.
Yeah. So I mean, and
the issue 4 you did too. Issue 4 you start to see some of it.
Oh yeah, we get to see a bit of it. So yeah, don't worry, we're gonna learn more about Invulnerable. That's the point of this storyline is learning more about where Invulnerable comes from and how he got his abilities. So you're gonna get that. That's the story. This story is an origin story, just told kind of backwards, and that's what I like about it. It's not told chronologically, but it is the origin story though, just kind of in a different way.
Yeah. So we're on their second story arc with the digital comic now.
Yes.
And this is the one that's going to lead into the Halloween special one. Am I correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So tell us about this one.
Okay. So this one was I don't know. Was it my idea or your idea, Wayne? I don't even remember.
I came up with the
sleepover aspect,
the initial
right?
plot, if you will. The rough idea of it.
You invited Wes.
Yeah. And so I kind of put it together in a very rough form. I don't do a lot of details when I write. I just write down what people say. So I just did it on like a script for out of a movie with no details at all. And so I guess that worked easy for Kat because she's just like, oh, they're here when it, like, I remember the sleepover totally didn't even start that way. But that's kind of what I think where the Halloween story came from. I came up with a plot, wrote down a cool story in a strip, and she just saw it and put everything together like a jigsaw puzzle, She just like kind of made the picture happen from brief ideas I threw at her. So I think, and the sleepover kind of came out of that because once we did a Halloween, we needed a build up to it so the audience would understand what's going on with it. I remember that discussion. And she's like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, let me think on it. And I wrote a quick little back and forth between Wes and Case. And, that was it. And I think in my idea, they were standing outside of a mall or something. And she was just like, yeah, no, they're not. And so that's where Sleepover kind of came from. Just a 1-page, maybe a 2-page, now a 7-8 page story. I forget how we're up to. I think 7.
Yeah, I think we're 7.
But what you're seeing now on the webcomic came from just like I said, 1 page of me writing a conversation between Wes and Casey, and I think you see a little bit of that in like the whole thing that she kind of created here, which is awesome. And I think that's why we're working together. Like I can throw an idea out there, and she's able to run with it. It's like quarterback and running back, a football analogy, whatever. But it's like I can feed into her machine and she can feed into mine, and we can keep this thing kind of going because of that. So
yeah, totally. We work really well together.
And that's where the Halloween story came from.
Oh
with
yeah,
Boys and Girls, because it just went back and literally it went back and forth, and I would do sketches of how I think the story could go, and throw it at her, and she's like, "Okay, good, do this and that," and so. It kind of works off the way the greats did, like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had to have done, right, to make Fantastic Four fantastic. I just see that in my head, and I think that's what me and Kat have, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Sleepover, it just expanded into something great because, again, I feel like you get to learn a lot about the different dynamics. Again, you learn about Stephanie's music, even though you got to learn about that and get to learn about our family. But there's a really cool scene between Wes and Steph that I think they both understand each other a bit more after that. Because Wes is like really confused about Casey's motives. She's like, why do you have these superpowers? Like, why the hell are you not using them?
Well, I think what inspired me from is because comic book is just so like once every quarter, once every 3 months we did those 4 issues, and they're spread so far out. You don't really see that development from issue 1 where Wes and Casey first met to where they are now. So we kind of wanted to do something that kind of I think that's what Kat got so excited about with the idea of a webcomic. Like, I could do those stories about these guys and how they became friends that I can't do in the series because we've already passed that point.
Yeah, because if you did that, especially in indie comic book world, you'll never get to the end.
But it would totally throw off the flow of the series, which is why we didn't want to touch that. We don't want to mess with the flow of the series. So the idea of webcomic, I think she just ran with, and I think that's what she loves so much about it. And I think that's kind of what I love about it too. You're really getting to understand who these guys are and how they got to be these good friends that you see in one book.
Yeah.
Like, how long have these guys been friends? What have they done? What do they do when they're not in the series? You know, do they play tennis and do they go roller skating? Do they go to the beach? Like, what do these guys do? Kind of questions to get you to understand the series more and maybe love the characters more. And
as much as we do, you know,
as much as we do, because we're the ones writing all this stuff.
Exactly. And, you know, we know these characters well, but sometimes you can't put everything on the paper. But with the webcomic, we have the opportunity to do that a little bit more. Maybe we'll tease some stories that we have coming up that, I mean, who knows if they'll come to fruition, but some ideas that we have. Because there's that one that I was thinking, again, the one that's about Stephanie and Casey, because I think that's going to be awesome. But it is something that you don't know about these characters. We'll spoil it after in the end. We'll tease a little bit about that. But we got some good ideas about it. Yeah. So, but Sleepover, I feel like you get a lot of different dynamics with it. And yeah, it's also fun just to see.
And I have to say, the Sleepover is probably her favorite right now because she's just been dying since issue 2 to get into Stephanie's room. She just wants everybody to see what's in that room.
I do.
Seriously, it's been a year, ladies and gentlemen. This woman has been like, I want you to start sketching ideas for this room, and this is what I got. So for like a year, I've been like throwing little sketches at her with like this in there, maybe a lava lamp, and she's looking. I'm like, ooh, huh. Ooh, but we never really got to do that in the series. And
I mean, we will see her room in the next issue. I'll say that. Not like this.
But not until like issue 5. Come on, we've been wanting to do this since issue 1 or 2.
We've been waiting a little bit too long because I love Stephanie's personality. I love that she's passionate about something. The same thing for Wes, and I think it's interesting that Casey's not really passionate. She's like, I feel like in Casey's view, she's like trying to figure out herself. Where Stephanie and everyone's trying to figure out themselves as teenagers, but I think Stephanie and Wes kind of know a bit of at least their personalities and who they are, and at least their passions, where Casey's just kind of like trying to figure that out. And I think some teenagers and some people have problems with that. Like, I think people, like even me, like I was able to hook onto a hobby very quickly, but there's people in the world like, well, you know, what do I like? Well, what makes me me? And I think Casey's definitely struggling with that a bit more than Stephanie and Wes in ways. I mean, you're definitely going to see identity stuff with all 3 characters, but I think in that regard, Casey's just trying to like find out what makes her, and we're going to see some cool scenes with that in Sleepover also. There's actually a really cool, again, we just finished a dialogue for it like yesterday, and there's a really cool I think it's a really cool back and forth with Wes of where Casey kind of expresses herself that I don't think we've seen expressed in the way she does.
By the way, I think some of this stuff that me and Kat have done with the artwork and stuff, it is on my Patreon page for those who contribute. Yes. And so a lot of the stuff you're hearing her talk about, you can actually see some of the stuff. I'll put it up there for those as part of the reward, where you can see this stuff like, what is she talking about? I want to see that. And it's not in the series. You're probably going to see some of the sketches she had me do. Like, I could probably scan in and throw some of these sketches I did for Steph's room.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of preparation. Come on, it's an awesome room.
You wanted this room since issue 1.
I did. What 16-year-old has a cool? I mean, she has an awesome room, and I think her likeness in music is beyond, well beyond, which I love. I love it. And then that random Doctor Who poster is amazing because that's like, her
honestly,
thing.
if you're reading the webcomic and you're seeing this room, Stephanie's room, I swear this is probably the room is the best described Kat's inner workings. I think this is just her soul. This room.
Oh yeah.
Kat, I told her today. She is a hippie 60s flower child in the 90s. That is who Kat is. I don't care what anyone thinks about they know Kat. That is what Kat is. Kat is a hippie 60s flower child born in the 90s.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I think I bring that a little bit to Stephanie. I really want to make a joke in the comic that she's like, I was born in the wrong generation. It's only been a hippie in the 60s.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to draw Stephanie and Joan of Arc. I see this coming.
I think
on the horse with the sword.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. I want to see it happen. Maybe that's why we need really a time travel issues. That way we can see Stephanie in the 60s. I think that's why we really need it. But no, I've definitely, I think because it's my love of the Beatles too that I try to bring it to Stephanie, as you saw with the John Lennon. Wayne showed many John Lennon posters in Stephanie's room, and the John Lennon quote that I picked. So yeah,
that's your room. That's your room. I drew. That's your room.
I wish it was my room.
So which one's your room, Wayne? Which one's gonna be your room?
I think it's Wes.
Mine was Wes.
I think mine's a mix of Wes and Stephanie's room. That's what I would say.
Mine is completely destroyed. I have children, and so my bed has been jumped on about 8 million times today by my little ones. So all my goodies are in boxes hidden for their own safety. You know? I had a dialect. I had a little dialect here next to my computer. It's broken. Yeah, you thought nothing could destroy a dialect. Try my children. Forget Doctor Who. Just release my kids, Adam. Humanity is safe. Trust me. This is like a little hard rubber dialect. How do you destroy hard rubber? And
kids can destroy anything. Kids and puppies can destroy anything.
I'm telling you, I guess that's why they're able to escape everything. They just know how to, like a little rat, dig their way out by chewing. She chewed my dialect. I still am angry about that. It's been 2 years ago, and I'm still angry. But yeah, all my goodies, the West, that's all in boxes for their own safety. So when all my kids are finally off to college, if my wife will let me, they're going back up on the wall. But by then, I'll have to have someone help me with a ladder and a cane so I can reach up to put it back up.
Then you'll have Wes's room. But yeah, no, again, the rooms are important. They're teenagers.
Yeah. Well, that's who these guys are. That's who these guys are. Yeah. That's who Kat is, too, because I know this is her room.
I wish it was.
Kat wants her bedroom to be the Yellow Submarine.
Oh man! And if I woke up from a bad dream and then saw the Yellow Submarine, I'm like, "What world am I in?"
Oh, what a great idea! You know what we should have done for Stephanie's room? We should have done a Beatles mural.
Oh yeah. Oh, we should have. That would have been fun. But I like
maybe that could be another webcomic where her and Steph, Casey, and Wes. Yes, I can talk, people. Those three get together and they paint a mural in her room, like they were decorating her room and they paint a mural.
I think that'd be cool. But one thing I really did like that Wayne added is that it's not. I think Stephanie has a diverse likeness in music. It's not just I like rock and roll, but she's got Madonna and Lady Gaga up there. So I think it's cool that she actually really likes music more than I like one thing in music. So I do like that about Steph's too. Yeah. And we'll learn more. I think we did learn in the webcomic already, why she liked music and all that. But yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot more of that as the comic goes on too. So just gotta wait.
Yeah. You're going to see a lot more Casey and Jim and Wes. And I think that's the great thing is we get to play with each character. We don't have to focus on Casey the whole time. We can have her maybe being a supporting character to Steph or Jim or something. And I think the cool part is we can play more with Jim. Mm-hmm. You were talking about earlier, we have an idea we're working on for him and when he was younger, maybe pre-Casey at this point, we're kind of thinking. So, you get kind of a background on him, maybe what's going on and maybe what, how this kind of affects Casey. But you get to see more of him and the other characters. And I promise you, I'm working in more action. I know.
I think that was Sean says. Like, where's the action?
I know. Where's the action? I know.
It's a dramatic book, okay? It's drama. It's angst.
It's indie. It's an indie.
It is
We're indie, man.
We did get a comment on our webcomic that me and Wayne always like. We joke around about that. Is like, oh, I don't like Casey. She's too. What was the exact?
Yes.
Like, she's
she's too much of a drama queen. What was it? No, it wasn't drama queen. It was something.
Yeah, it was like she's too dramatic, and it's not realistic that she would do this because her father left.
Because she hates it. I'm like thinking, oh my God, how many guys did I grow up? My friends, guys and girls, who were just like that about their parents, and their parents weren't even anything bad. Like
I think every child goes to that point in their life where they're just like, my parents are they did this. Yeah. They did this one thing, so they're the absolute worst. Like if they said no to you for something,
and this is a pretty bad
parents
thing.
Are the absolute worst.
Yeah. And this actually does affect Casey's life, and I will say even like the way she and I guess I could say this is something you will see in her personality, how she relates to things. Like she's very emotionally closed off.
Right. But also she remember like she's a daughter of a divorced parents.
That too.
My friends who were I had one friend and her sister.
Abandonment issues.
But I had a couple friends years ago that when their dad who divorced their mom they hated him because they divorced him. He was getting remarried. They were like, we're wearing black. We're going like full black veil, like it's a funeral. And we don't care. And I was like, wow, that's hatred.
I know siblings who are half siblings who the father's first marriage will not talk to the people from the father's second marriage at all. Like they're dead to them. Like you don't exist.
Right.
You stole my mom. You stole my dad away from my mom. That's what the one sister said to the other sister.
So these are realistic things, and I think, and again, what this comic is about also, and I think any story is that people are different. People are going to react to things differently, and with Casey, obviously, this is how she reacts. She sees her dad everywhere, and everyone loves him, and then it's like, hey, this is not a good guy, at least in the beginning. She's like, this is not a good guy. Like, he left me to do this, and obviously, they learn their stories a little bit more, as you saw in issue 4. But, that's a big thing. And then what I was saying before is, like, Casey emotionally is going to have to deal with that. But that's
what divorced children do. I mean, my parents were divorced. I know other kids who have parents of almost every kid in America his parents are divorced at least once. So it's more common. But it's what they do. She's not being overdramatic. She's just being the child of a divorced parents.
Yeah, she's just trying to deal with it. And again, this is obviously hyper situation of it. And I think emotionally, just like Jim, emotionally kind of cut his ties in a lot of ways. Like, he didn't know how to deal with stuff emotionally. Casey really doesn't know how to deal with things emotionally either. Like
I'm saying, that's one of the kind of side things with Casey. I don't think that person understood is that, like, any child of divorced parents, when your parents divorce, you hate one of them for causing it, whoever's to blame or takes blame.
Especially when you have a parent walk out on you.
Yes. But I think, that's like the model of it. First thing you feel is hatred and betrayal and whatever, but you get over it in some cases. Some of these guys, they get back together as parents. And I think that's kind of like a normal thing. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think that would be a normal thing in a family.
And again,
that's why I think the story works. I think where Cat has it, where it works perfectly for me. I can see that happening in America today with some family.
And what I love about this comic too is that I kind of poke fun at the American dream. Because you literally open the comic of white picket fence walking out of the house and then you have like the Death of the Salesman commentary in the first issue and the second issue. It's literally like the American dream. You think, oh, superhero, well, like at least comic book American dream is like, oh, superhero, they're the best and they just want to save the world. And you see, well, America's kind of more complicated than that, and people are more complicated than that.
And Wayne said, it's a divorced family. It's, I said it's an abandonment issue. And
Casey's got abandonment issues, okay?
This isn't a girl who was able to, her father left her and he's a piece of crap and she can move on with her life. Her father left her and he's loved by every single person in the world. So it's like she's wrong to say that she does not like her father because everyone loves him. and she's constantly hearing about how great he is, but she can never say, no, he's not. He's a piece of shit, you know? So she has to hold that in. So when it does come out, it might sound like a little drama queenish, but it's really just years of pent-up anger that's just coming out.
Anybody either. Yeah. This is not something she talked about.
It's not something.
Before she won, this is something she literally, like, look at what her mom did. She didn't have a chance to talk about it at all. It's something that she always just like, oh, turn off the television. I don't want to hear it. But now she was able to tell Stephanie, and obviously you have these events where she has to deal with it. And also you have to think about this too, is that Casey, besides her friends, isn't that, like, you know, her support system, her mom is always gone because she has to work. She has to support her family. So she's also alone a lot. So it's like, I mean, she has resentment of that too, like having to be by herself a lot. And as a kid, that's going to do something to you, you know, that's going to psychologically do something. So, yeah.
That's what's one that's cool about this is like almost every comic book you read, the hero comes from the family, or one died, or one was in whatever, or they're still married. This one here, you see the hero coming from a broken home like other people do.
Yeah, it's very realistic, or at least a try.
Yeah, so, you know, there's like no Uncle Ben moment. You know, if Uncle Ben, you know, in Casey's situation, if her dad walks in and says, with great power must come great responsibility, she's probably spit in his face just like you would if it was your divorced dad coming in, like, what nerve?
Yeah, right. It's not like saying, oh, come over in the weekends, like he just left.
So her life is more complicated because of these things. And I think it's something everybody can kind of relate to, you know? So I love it for that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. But where you go? Yeah, we definitely have a lot of questions. So if you want to,
I want to say we don't have that much time, but we got a lot of questions. So let's try to do this rapid fire a little bit.
Let's go ahead.
All right. So CO says all this talk. Well, Kat just posted.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. CO says all this talk excites me for more webcomic and issue 5 and beyond. The Real Mano says, question for both Kat and Wayne. Which issue is the one you're most proud of? So, Kat first.
Oh man, I feel like every issue that we do, I'm most proud of. But writing wise, that's out. Issue 4, I would issue 3 too. But you know, issue 3 for me, and I know Sean, who I don't know if he's still in the comments, is always really talks about this issue too, especially the bullying thing. I try and make realistic situations in this story, and obviously bullying is a very big thing. Yeah. And you know, Casey actually does stand up for it, and it's something that you should do. And like
that was well written too. That was well written. I love the way how you did it with her without having to change into a super suit.
Yeah, that was a big commentary, and obviously bullying will be a bigger part in future arcs too. So we're still going to see that. It's high school.
But
so
I love the way you wrote that, because it made her more like everybody should be able to do this, not just people in the blue and white spandex or something, you know. So I did like the way you wrote that. I thought that was really great. Although I think 4 is better. I think so.
Yeah, I think 4 is because I mean that moment again. Spoiler alert if you guys have not read issue 4 though. It's really that built up moment of Casey forgiving Invulnerable, which is a pretty big.
And if you haven't read issue 4, it is available where, Kat?
I could put it in it's in the description below, but it's on the Short Fuse Media Facebook page and also Comixology. So if you as people were saying before, like, oh, why is Casey being a bitch and stuff like that? Well, you see, like it's not like she's impossible. She sees the other side and.
Okay. Rapid fire. Too long for rapid fire. Yes, calling the buzzer.
All right,
that's true.
So next one is let's see. Ramel Hillgood says, "Good." Ramel Hill Hood. Yeah.
Ramel. Hey, Ramel.
Ramel Hill.
Who was also the editor.
No, because it was just both put together. Hill and Good were put together, so I read it as Hillgood. I keep wanting to say it, so I kept going back to not say it. So says, "Good to see Wayne finally." Short Fuse says, "I'm asked often about the amount of action in the book. How should I respond moving forward?"
On the action of like the actual like physical action, or what was the question, Jay? Sorry, I lost it.
He says, "I'm asked often about the amount of action in the book. how should I respond moving forward?
There definitely is going to be more action, and what I like about the book, I don't know if Wayne will agree, but I like that it's never just like let's punch each other action. There's always some emotional attachment to the action. So there's always something. There's a reason why that's happening. So yeah, no, we'll definitely see more action. Issue 4, we got a little bit like you saw Casey punch somebody, which was kind of cool.
We got some action ideas coming up.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing about this story that kind of brings the question to face is Casey's not the kind of person who she's new to it. She's not Superman, Wonder Woman, ready to go into a fight. She's more like you and I would be. Is like, should I get involved? Should I just keep walking? What's going on? You know, so she's more of like an everyday how you and I would face it. You know, not like the whole jump in the phone booth, come out as Superman and save the day on everything. She's more like how normal people would wave it. So I love that about Casey. She's not that full Wonder Woman mode yet.
Yeah, because you also have to know she's never thrown a punch in her life before.
Right.
Even though she has super strength, honestly, she doesn't really know how to control it that much. She doesn't want to kill anybody. So she's like, she doesn't know how to control it. She's like, only in an urgent situation she's going to use it.
But she's not in that full Batman mode, if you will.
No, totally
just
not.
Focus.
No.
You know, so she's not there yet. I think one thing about the story, like people don't understand, like that takes something that people have to grow into. You're not Green Beret overnight. You have to spend months and years of training to get to that condition.
Even with super strength. I mean, and trust me, I thought of ideas. You know, you're going to see action. I've thought of ideas, especially fighting styles of our characters. So, and I will say, all right, I will say, at least in my mind, both Wes and Stephanie have more action background than Casey, because Casey, again, I mean, her mom is an office woman. Wes, I will say, in my mind, has a karate background, because every person wants to be a superhero as karate.
You're gonna get that joke in a couple more days.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get that
joke in a couple more days in the
webcomic. Stephanie's dad is a police officer, so she knows her stuff too. She knows how to protect herself. So, but Casey doesn't. So
there's gonna be more action.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of bored of drawing little teenage girl bedrooms. We're gonna do something a bit more action-wise. You know, I don't know what. I'll invent a 3-headed alien that attacks New York or something. Godzilla will pop out of Hudson River. That's it. That's what we're doing.
Totally.
And then you can have Stephanie bust out a flute and put it to sleep like the dragons do.
Stephanie got to learn a flute now. I will say the 2 instruments Stephanie does know. She's not a Mary Sue of instruments. She does know piano and she knows guitar. And I do want like Casey to act like, well, you know, I play bass, right? It's like, no. 2 different things.
Yeah.
It's like most people are not into music would think you could play both because they both kind of look the same, but it's like nah, you know, they're both 2 different things. I do want to add that maybe one day into the comic. We'll see. That's something I've been thinking about.
All right, Sure Few says, I know what Invulnerable does when he's not in the series. Just saying, LOL.
Go check out Day Off from Sean, who wrote it, so go check it out.
Tevia says, would one of Casey's friends get superpowers like super speed?
I mean, the only people that are in the world that have powers are Casey and Invulnerable. And I mean, in my mind, even if there was an I mean, at least at this mind frame now, this might change as story goes on. But in my mind frame now, I don't want to see. I think what makes them special is that they don't have superpowers, but they still want to help Casey. You know, they'll do anything to help Casey and kind of heroes in their own right. Without superpowers, so that's always been my thing with Wes and Steph.
Like
I really wouldn't want to see that.
Like early Willow and Xander.
Very much so.
It's very early that. So let's see. Scotty Showman says, question: I watched a podcast recently on how Chris Claremont and John Byrne complement each other so well in their Dark Phoenix run. How you feel you guys complement each other? This we touched on a little bit earlier about your synergies.
I think me and Kat have great synergy now. It wasn't always there. It was difficult at first because we
didn't know each other.
Yeah, the first issue it was just me and Jay. Oh no,
Sean.
Yeah, and we were editing. He was just editing. He was like telling me this and that, and I just went with the script. I don't know how long ago it was before me and Kat kind of started talking and hanging out.
Probably after issue 2 or like during issue 2.
Yeah.
I can tell you when it was in the middle of issue 2.
During the Q&A. Yeah. We did.
It was in the middle of issue 2. Yeah.
So that kind of opened the door for a back and forth between us on how things should look, how what I think we can do with the image to change the angle or make the room different or anything like that. My end. So we started a Kapoor, and I think it was just after the hiatus was just so really stupid and boring. As well.
It has to happen with indie comics, but us as creators. Yeah. Us as creators, we want it. We want it.
Come on, keep working it. Come on, get up there. We got to do a monthly thing. So,
if you read the webcomic and buy the comic, we definitely would be able to do it more frequently.
But I think it was the timing. We, like I said, it took like so months for the Kickstarter and us to get to the next story, and it wasn't really. There was a lot of time, but there was no back and forth. Hey, we think we can do this for this panel, and Wayne, do you think you can draw this in the background? And somewhere along the lines, it became more of a back and forth where I'm like, no, I think it should go over here, and vice versa.
And we respect each other's opinions, and we
started talking talking about how we love the characters and what we think should happen next, and me begging Kat to tell me more about what the hell is going to happen next.
I had to tell Wayne because I was keeping him in the dark for
I was in the dark I was in the dark with everybody.
I think that opened up once you guys start to communicate directly with each other too. Like it was like, oh yeah, you know what, I can share this with because I think it's different. Like when you have that open line of communication. So that I think is it improved your relationship and improved the comic.
I do want to say this about our relationship we have as artist and writer right now. This is like the way we have it right now. It for me, it feels like this is the way it's supposed to be and always supposed to be with every comic book for every artist and writer. Like I said, I picture us together, and I told her, mentioned this a lot of time, where she's Stan Lee and I'm Jack Kirby, and we're working on Fantastic Four, and it's just back and forth, me drawing, throwing ideas so I'm back. And that's the way I imagine those two guys doing it. I don't know if that's how it did or not, but in my mind, in my imagination, if I was to picture the perfect way for that to work, that would be it. So I totally understand what those two guys were talking about in their relationship with the Dark Saga, Phoenix Saga. We all know that. That was just awesome work, period, artwork and writing style. Yeah. And if we have that, hey, I want to keep it because that's an awesome thing to have. So I think we have a great relationship now, and I think it's what's making everything work right now and making everything better. So I put us up there with those guys right now.
Yeah, and what's so awesome too is that we get to actually talk about the story every day. Like before, it's just like, oh, I really had to wait to write these stories. Like I was so far ahead. I'm like, whoa, all right, now now the characters are completely different, and they change a lot as this story goes on. Mm-hmm. So it's like I really can't go much farther, or else I'll be 20 years ahead of us. But it's cool that we get to write the stories every day, and we really get to create these stories every day through Facebook, and we get pages, and it's awesome. It's really cool. And again, this is, I feel like, should be the comic book, and especially the indie comic book industry too, with writer and artist. All
right, so we have Tevia also asks was what Stephanie and Wes get superpowers. We already answered that with your last question. The Real Mano says Stephanie is my favorite supporting character. CO says
she's my favorite character, right? Even though I love writing every single one.
Mine is Wes, but it's completely, totally selfish.
Oh yeah, it's 100% selfish. I don't know, Stephanie's just a really, I think, especially where we're gonna take her.
It was Casey until
until I figure stuff out with her.
Until I start seeing more and more of myself with Wes, I'm like, okay, I just have to like him. He's a cool guy. Otherwise, I would be not liking myself.
Hey, Wes, I mean, again, I think all four of these characters are really interesting. I love writing all four. It's never like, I gotta write that character. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I think they all have grown into different things. But for me, I like where, I think because now I'm in the current story arc for Stephanie, and that's why I'm really excited for it. But I mean, Casey's fun to write. Wes is like every geek's dream to write. I mean, because it's like you're just writing geeky stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, let's see. CO says, this is for all of us. If you could bring a character to cross over from one of the big two, who would you pick?
Oh, man.
So it's from either Marvel or DC. I know cats already.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. I have it with each character, though. I think that would be fun. So, like, Invulnerable, I would like to see Superman, especially this current Superman. I think would be really interesting. With John and Lois, I think would be really cool. Wes? Oh, man, who would I like to see Wes with? It's not a comic book character, but I would really like to see him with Styles from Teen Wolf. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Stephanie? Now that I have hippies on my mind, I want to see Carolina Dean and Stephanie hang out from the Runaways. And then Casey? Always Spider-Girl. Definitely Spider-Girl.
How about you, Wayne?
I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about. I seriously don't. So, yeah. Gosh. I mean, I've seen these guys created from nothing. So I have influences, of course, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. But I don't think any one solely kind of solidifies with these individual characters. I kind of see them unique in my own way. So I have no idea. I really don't. The way they are now is perfect for me.
Perfect.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with basically all DC characters, I think, because I would like to see Stephanie meet up with probably Wonder Girl. Just because
that'd be interesting.
Cassie, just because I think they got like.
I mean, it's gonna get a little confusing because their names are kind of similar, but
yeah. it's just I think Cassie Sandsmark has a unique perspective on life, and I think Stephanie has one, but it's the opposite type of way.
Don't you think it would be interesting if Stephanie Brown meets Casey because they both got daddy issues? I think that would be interesting.
I was actually thinking of similar, same family but different character.
Who, Damian? Yeah, Damian being. I don't think. I think Casey. I really think Casey would kick Damian across like the earth.
Exactly. I would love to see them. I would love to see them argue over daddy issues because you know Damian has some serious daddy issues. So I would love to see those two like argue over it, and her be like, "You think you got daddy issues?" And he'll be like, "You think you have them? I died." Like I can see him being.
I think Casey would be like, "I wish I could die."
Exactly. They'll be like trying to outdo each other. Who has the worst freaking life? I would love that scene. So,
I wish I could die by inheriting my dad's abilities.
That's it. Invulnerable. Definitely want to see him with Superman, and I would say Wes. I would like to see him either with Connor or John.
That'd be cool. And who did you say for Stephanie? I forgot.
Wonder Girl.
Okay, well, yeah, that would be cool. And Casey was
just because it's something different. It's not someone that she can relate to, but it's someone that's close to what Casey is. You know, like because Cassie had a chip on her shoulder too. Yeah, so I would like to see her bring that light to her, like she does with Casey. You know, so I would like to see that. It'll be her way, like she'll be like sharing the light with people and like with her music. She'll be like totally a hippie and I can see that.
Now we just gotta do hippie Stephanie. I mean, if we don't do it, I don't. People are
I don't see Stephanie as a hippie.
I do not see Stephanie as a hippie.
She has to go. She has to go to like a concert outside where she's like wearing sandals and
God.
Big
he's already barefoot in our Beatles.
All right, so let's see. We got a couple more questions.
Yes.
Real Mano says, "I'm loving the webcomic. It's a nice way to visit the characters in between issues." And then he says, "Will we see more of Casey's mom in future stories?"
Yep. Next issue.
All right. That's all the viewer questions. So I just want to say one question that I had while we were talking.
And also tease that story, I promise.
Yeah. Yes. Wayne said about an annual type thing, but this is not that particular. But could we see other holiday specials coming up or maybe a yearly
we have ideas
with the Halloween, like every Halloween, because I like it when comic books do that. Like a comic book would be like, okay, we're very good at doing a Halloween story. So every year we're going to do this Halloween story, or every year we're doing this Christmas special. So
I don't know if we would do every Halloween every year.
In this one, this is going to be very hard to continue. I'll say that, and it's very going to be interesting. It's very different from what we've been doing with like Spotlight Daughters. So I'm just going to say that. But it's a lot of fun, and that's all I'm gonna say.
I think as we talk about action, we talk about villains, we talk about things. I think that's the one thing that we do have a lot of fun with on the Halloween special. We're allowed to break those rules. We don't have to go with casting. We can now. It's a webcomic. I think that's what spurred it all, but it's a webcomic, so we can play and go a little crazy. So you're gonna see some crazier stuff coming up. It's Halloween. Will we do it every year? I'd like to, but I'm not sure if we can top this.
Yeah,
this is a pretty good one.
This is going to be really hard to top. It's like every horror fan to do this.
Yes.
Also, Real Mano says that he wants to see a concert issue. I think that'd be cool, but in my mind, again, I've thought about these characters a lot. My mind, Stephanie drags Casey to concerts because I've been to concerts with my mom, and she does this, and I think Casey would do the same thing. She would be the person to leave before it ends. So she'd be like, oh, the crowd, I mean, we got to go. And then Stephanie's like, no, the best songs are at the end. And then just, no, I don't want to hit the crowd. And I think Casey would be that friend to make Stephanie leave the concert early. But Casey's like being supportive and going. Like she'll go with Steph because she knows she likes the concert.
I have to go a step further with that. I love Steph and Casey's relationship. I see Steph as the one to drag Casey to a Guars concert. Because it's a reunion tour and it's not going to happen again afterwards. That's something she would go to. Like, you got to come. We've got to see this. It could be it's like the Rolling Stones. Why they tour every year, every time they tour, it's a great
It's always
thing.
the last season.
It could be the last time you ever see them live. Because
that's true.
One of them's bound to die soon.
Yeah, I think Stephanie definitely. She goes to a lot of diverse concerts.
Yeah, so I see her dragging Casey, and Casey's just like, oh my god, why am I here? You're my friend. I wouldn't even listen to this music under threat of a gun pointed at me.
Because you got to think about Casey too. She, we answered that in the get to know. She doesn't. I mean, she's not a music. She's not into it. She's just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, she's just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, she respects her friend just like they respect each other. But she's gonna be leaving that concert early.
Okay, Kat, real quick before you give us the teaser. 4 characters. What are all their favorite holidays?
Oh god, that's a good one. Okay. Wes would pick Free Comic Book Day. Invulnerable does not have a favorite holiday because he doesn't celebrate it with anybody, so he does not have a favorite holiday. Casey, I could see really liking Christmas. I think she really likes Christmas. But she doesn't really celebrate Christmas that much. Her family doesn't celebrate. Her mom does not celebrate Christmas, but she likes it. So she goes to Stephanie's house. And Steph, let's go with Halloween. We'll say she's going to get really into getting us into the Halloween special.
I could see Steph definitely Halloween. Yeah. Or even Thanksgiving. I just see Steph as such a family girl.
Oh, yeah, no, she is. She definitely is.
It's the fun of Halloween tampers there with the getting the back with family at Thanksgiving kind of thing. Yeah. Only without presents. So it's harder for kids to like that holiday. But Wes definitely, I like Free Comic Book Days. Yeah, it would be him. I definitely see Invulnerable 4th of July boy.
Oh yeah, that's true. 4th of July, he can celebrate.
He's the dedicated American.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, as a superhero,
I could see him like on the roof watching the Macy's fireworks.
Exactly. I could see him as the what's the chairman of the parade or something like that. You know, I could see him there in the convertible Cadillac, like 1950s ticker tape in the back of the Cadillac, just waving everybody. Because it's the good feel thing, American thing to do.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah.
who am I missing
Casey,
here? I got
Casey.
No, Casey. Casey, I definitely see as Christmas. I just like Kat.
You'd be surprised by it, right?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I have some training in psychology, and as a divorced child, the spirit of Christmas, bringing the family back together, is something that you want
that type of person always secretly wants a Brady Bunch Christmas,
but you don't expect it. So she wants Christmas with the lights and the tree and the family and the presents, but she doesn't expect it. Because,
I think, again, with Casey, with that, she does not celebrate with her mother because her mother's, after everything that happened, does not want to celebrate Christmas, but definitely celebrates with Steph's family. I think that's something, and I think that's actually she's gotten close with Steph's family. Obviously, if they're celebrating holidays together, they're pretty close.
Right.
So, I definitely see that. I think that's cool. So, Jay, any other questions or?
No, I just want to say something before you give your teaser, because you actually gave another teaser away in your webcomic, but I don't think many people have caught on to it. But since I know something that's coming up, I kind of know what she gave away. So I would say this: read the webcomic again, and you will see that there is a hint given away. There is a hint given away about something that's coming up, specifically in the next arc of the story.
I'll say read the Darkest Secrets. I would say read that again. Read that panel again if you want maybe a little hint. And honestly, the Halloween special is going to have a little hint of it too. So if you don't catch on, then I don't know. Because it's like the thing that's happening, I'm keeping it a secret because it's not because I think it should be a secret. It's just that I think it's going to be it's going to be a very, very strong arc for Stephanie. It's going to be a very important arc, and that's why I'm not teasing it. It's not because it's a spoiler. It's not, and that's why I'm okay with hinting at it. But I'm trying to let it. You'll see it organically happen. That's all I'm gonna say. So there's definitely teasers of it, and there will be more teasers of it in the webcomics. That's all I'm gonna say. It's there.
Oh, trust me, she's all about teasing. Oh
yeah,
God.
I love my teases, and
she's just like, this is going to be a great tease, Wayne. Draw it like this. I want to tease them. I'm just like, okay, all right, I got it.
As a reader, Kat loves those teases. Kat loves those teases as a reader. I think we all do. I want
to see if anyone can guess the teaser. Can anyone guess what I'm teasing before we end? Can anyone guess it? I won't say yes or no. Maybe I probably won't. I can't. But I won't say yes or no. But try to guess what's going on with that. So, that too. I forgot about that. So I didn't even think about that one. Also in the sleepover one.
When I read that, I was like, I can't believe you said that. I was like, that's like a major thing that's going to happen, and she teased that. I was like,
teased it tonight too. I teased it tonight also for that. So
I was like, she just came right out and said that in the webcomic. I was like, wow. I read that. I was just like, wow. I can't say anything because, but there's a major thing that's been teased in the webcomic that when you read the rest of this story arc, you're gonna be like, wow, she did tease that big time. I can't believe I missed it.
It's happening. Yeah, there's a lot of big changes in this book, so really look for the teases. I give a lot of hints. So there's also something that I give a hint. I don't want to spoil too much, but I think this is good. The Beatles poster for the webcomic has teases in it. That's all I'm going to say. That Beatles poster actually has a huge tease in it.
Romano says, when is that one shot featuring those cameos coming out?
I think that's more of a question for Sean if he's still there. I'm not sure what the release date is. Hopefully soon though. Because we love teaming up with our indie creators.
And it was the title of it, Kat said, was she's sure to and I just drew a blank on it. Kat, what was that?
For what?
The book that came out before it was
Day Off.
No, the other one. The one where, God, I can't even think of it. I got the book somewhere in here, and I don't know where. It's over there behind me, so it's kind of hard for me to grab. But the one where they all meet up. It's also a banner underneath.
The Heroes Ignited.
Yeah, Heroes Ignited. Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't think of that for the life of me. I'm like, the thing with the thing and the thing and the other thing. I was just like every sitcom character put into one right there. But yes, Heroes Igniter. There was one already released. I guess you could check out Short Fuse if you want to see. I'm not sure if that's available. Is that available, Kat?
Yeah, the Heroes Ignited one. Yeah, so it's available in a different format, but the story we have is still there. So it's it's on the shop though. It's just under. I think it's under Heroes Ignited Annual now. So.
Isn't that the one where my avatar is from?
Yep.
Yeah, because I work at the comic book shop. So does that mean like I get 25% off or something at the comic book shop there?
Sure.
Like what's my hookup there?
You got to talk to management. I don't handle that.
I need to know what my hookup is at the shop I work at. All right, so
I'm Mac, so you know what? Sorry.
Wes has a good hookup.
Windows break. What are you gonna do?
So handing it back over to Kat so we can wrap this up.
Yes, and also giving the tease of what's coming up. That just if you guys stayed this long, we are, and Jay does not know about this one. We are gonna do an webcomic issue where Stephanie and Casey first met. So it's gonna be them as little first graders and seeing how they first met. So it's gonna be a really fun one. And we have again, Wayne has a really cool West scene in there too, and then I have ideas for Jim kind of being in there. So a lot of cool things are going to put in that. So we haven't written it yet, so I can't give you that much details besides that, but I'm really stoked for that.
Yeah. It's a lot of exciting stuff coming up that a lot of stuff. I can't tell you how many nights we've spent there just texting back and forth with ideas that we've each had for new stories or to continuing story for the webcomic. So I see the webcomic coming up is going to really draw people's attention to the characters in the story, and that's great. And it's fun for us because we get to do it. You know, we don't have to wait for a Kickstarter. Yes. We just do it. So I hope everybody out there
feedback too, which is cool. We love your comments. That's really a big reason why we're doing it. Is just to hear
everybody out there. If you like, go to the website, check it out, see those webtoons. That's what we want you to do. We want you to check it out, like it. If you don't like it, sorry, tell us what you don't like so we know how to make it a little bit better. But if you like it, let us know. Let us know we're doing it right so we keep going in the right direction.
Yeah, and let us know if you have any things you want to see. Maybe we could make it possible. Who knows?
Maybe throw a question like you threw at us tonight.
Yeah, we love all that. So hopefully we could get to do this type of thing again. We just wanted to spread the word about the webcomic and just have fun talking about these characters we love. And thank you, Jay, for moderating. And I mean, that way we don't have to go too long. We'll just say go check out Wayne's Patreon, again, just to support that. Go check out the webtoons on Like Father, Like Daughter. It's in the description below. And yeah, so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, guys, and hopefully have another Like Father, Like Daughter Q&A and Kickstarter soon. Talk to you guys soon.
Totally.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.